Road to Indy is the only open-wheel development series that features a clear path to the top level of open-wheel racing and scholarships to advance at each level. Along with former Mazda Road to Indy driver Anders Krohn, I'm Kevin Lee, and this is the first of 4 quarterly highlight shows featuring the first 2 levels of the Mazda Road to Indy, USF 2000 and Pro Mazda. As we look at this season, Anders, let's go back to last season. Tight championships in both series. Florian Latour wins USF 2000. He moves up the ladder to Pro Mazda. So who are we looking at this year in USF 2000?
It was just an amazing end to the season, and seeing him grab that check for $350,000 was awesome. And this year, I think we're going to be looking at Nico Jamin, Aaron Tielitz, and Jake Edson as the big contenders. But there's a whole host of rookies coming up as well.
Pro Mazda Championship last year was even tighter, going down to the end of the finale at Sonoma. Spencer Piggott, edges Scott Hargrove. They both have moved up the ladder to Indy Lights. What about this year in Pro Mazda?
Well, I think we have to look at the returning drivers again. Neil Albarico is going to be so strong this year, and Jose Gutierrez as well. But then we have these rookie drivers of Santi Arusha and Weir and Tan, which I think are going to be extremely strong as well.
So much is on the line. Not only an opportunity to develop, but to pick up much-needed scholarship money to advance. These shows also feature play-by-play of races, and we start this one with USF 2000 and their opener at St. Petersburg in late March. It was the very first race of the season for the Mazda Road to Indy and kicked off the Cooper Tires USF 2000 powered by Mazda Championship. And in the opener, they lined up with Jake Edson and Aaron Tielitz on the front row. Nico Jamin and Jordan Lloyd in row number 2. Anthony Martin, Garth Rickards in row 3. Yufeng Lowe and Parker Thompson in row 4. Kayvon Anders Sori, Nikita Listashkin in row 5. Then Luke Gavin and Max Hanruddy. Isla Ogren, Augie Lurch, James Dason, Andrew List, and Victor Franzoni, who was penalized and sent to the back. So he's going to be fast starting last.
And this really is the ideal place for these USF 2000 kids to start the season, right alongside the IndyCar superstars. And that's where these guys want to be as we get ready here for the start. And first race of the year, a lot of tension here, a lot of drivers wanting to go to the front.
Perfect weather in St. Petersburg to open the season. 14 turns, 1.8 miles. Around that 14th turn, back on the airport runway, and we are green in USF 2000. Edson in the black car gets the early jump. That's Tielitz, one of the many white cars right behind him. Jamin is in third, and Martin tries to jump to the outside. They get through one cleanly up front, but they turn back in the 4th, 5th position, then a pile up further back.
Oh, and that is Parker Thompson getting into Jordan Lloyd there, and that sets the whole incident off. James Stason in there, Kayvon Andrasori, and Luke Gavin as well in the middle of all that mess there. That's a shame.
Gavin is in the red car, the number 82 car. So let's start taking a look at what happened.
It usually always starts with one guy on the inside, and in this case, that is Parker Thompson, who just goes too deep, sets it all off by hitting Jordan Lloyd, and from there, chaos just ensues.
Gavin got up in the air as he went over a car just a little bit. On board now.
And just look at this turn 1 here. Gavin just slides a little bit over those rumble strips there on the inside, and from there, he's just a passenger.
Parker Thompson, this is his on board.
He's way too late on the brakes there. Just taps Jordan Lloyd, and yeah, from there on, it's all chaos. Very typical here to see that sort of thing in St. Petersburg, where you have such a wide runway, and Kayvon Sori is nothing but a passenger, really. He has no chance to avoid that.
And finally, a look from Jordan Lloyd's on board.
Yeah, that was certainly none of Jordan Lloyd's fault. He was merely a passenger.
So we are yellow in the very early going as Gavin climbs out. Stay with us for the Mazda Road to Indy on NBCSN. This is the Cooper Tires Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, part of our quarterly highlight show for the Mazda Road to Indy with Anders Krohn. I'm Kevin Lee. This is race number 1 of the St. Petersburg weekend and race number 1 of the season. Working lap number 7. That's the restart after the early caution in turn number 1. Leading the field back to the green is the pole sitter, Jake Edson. Tielitz is right behind him in one of the many white cars.
Nico Jamin looking to the inside there of Anthony Martin, and he gets that move for third. Great move on the inside there. Anthony Martin just outbraking himself ever so slightly. Yufeng Lo as well, doing a great job in his US F2000 debut as well. He's moved up from the Pacific F2000 Championship. Great job for him there. And then a whole host of Team Pelfrey cars there with Isla Ogren and Garth Rickers right behind him.
So Jamin started third. He gets that position back. One of many teenagers in the show here, now living in Florida. He is from France. Edson up front, born in Memphis, now lives in Florida, so a home race of sorts for him for Pabst Racing, and he's off to a strong start to this season in the opener here today, trying to continue what he's been doing in his young Mazda Road to Indy career.
Just look at that opening lap for Jake Edson here in this Pabst Racing car. He's pulled out a massive gap already, and that's been the tale of this whole weekend so far. Every practice session, every qualifying session, he's been so strong right off the bat in these sessions. Victor Franzoni here looking to pass Isla Ogren. That's Garth Rickards, my apologies for that, going down the inside into turn one here. And he's going to get that move really late on the brakes there. Franzoni always a beast on the brakes, and now he's going to go and try and chase down Isla Ogren for that 6th spot.
So he is running in 7th position. Now he's looking back to Rickards. Split between the two Team Pelfrey cars right now. Franzoni, we know he's fast. The penalty for a tech violation put him at the back of the field. So you know he's going to be somebody to watch as he carves his way through the field.
But just such a talented young Brazilian there. You see he's just a little bit quicker through this infield section on the track here. And now he's coming up to a good passing opportunity here going in towards turn 10. We're going to go through a little kink here and then a really hard brake zone. You're going to see him line up for that in the inside. He's going to be later on the brakes, and he gets that move. And oh, that's going to put Garth Rickards right on the rear end of Isla Ogren. Great racing here in the early goings of this race.
This is a fantastic technical track. It is challenging to pass, but you can definitely get it done.
Absolutely, and when you're quicker, just like Victor Franzoni is, you can definitely get done on this track here. Long run down the front straight here. Garth Rickards now looking at his teammate of Isla Ogren.
So look how quickly Victor Franzoni has moved up from 17th to 6th.
Unbelievable. Victor Franzoni was a force to be reckoned with last year in the US F2000 Championship, and this year coming back as no longer a rookie driver has made him make that step to being so quick right off the bat, and that's what Victor is showing right now.
Franzoni won one of the races at St. Pete last year, finished 5th in the championship. The Pelfrey teammates are going at it here. Not that time. Battle for 7th on the track with Ogren in front of Rickards.
And now we're in that really tight infield section of the track, turn 8 right here, and then coming into turn 9. This leads you onto the back straight, so we could potentially see a pass here if Garth gets a good run. He is in the slipstream right now, getting the draft from Isla Ogren. Let's see if he can do the same move that Victor Franzoni did. Pop out, late on the brakes, and he gets that move. Good job around the inside there.
Rickards is one of the many young Americans in the Mazda Road to Indy from Pennsylvania. Ogren is from Norway, but she lives in the area in St. Petersburg now.
I actually believe she only lives a couple of blocks away from
That's nice.
From the track. Yeah, so she has a short walk to the paddock in the morning.
Back up front to the leader, Jake Edson, by about 7 or 8 car lengths. Edson finished 3rd in the USF 2000 Championship last year with a couple of wins. He was the F1600 champ and a Team USA scholarship winner in 2013 and won a couple of times in the Winterfest this year. Battle for 11th right here.
Look at this, Max Hanratty. Is he going to go for 2 moves in 2 corners? Can't quite get that done, but that was a good move for Hanratty on the inside of Augie Lertz there into turn 1. Let's see if he can get another spot here around the outside of Andrew List into turn 4.
Not that time. This may not be a battle up front, but this is still critical racing and experience here. Now we look at a battle for the 5th position. That is Low in the white car. Franzoni behind him in the black car. Yufeng Lo from China, now living in LA for Pabst Racing.
And just look at how quickly he's caught up to Yufeng Lo. I think what you're seeing here is the difference between a rookie driver and an experienced driver. Yufeng is a rookie to the series, hasn't been to this track before, but Victor has, and he is showing his capabilities right now as he's lining up for that draft, going down that long front straightaway. It's actually an airport run field.
And Lowe is only 16 years old. And he's battling a veteran in this series. Franzoni can't get him around 1. Still trailing him through 2 and 3.
Should still have a good opportunity here into turn 4, though, if he gets the draft. Yufeng goes for a little bit of a block there, can't get that done. Max Hanratty again fighting with Augie Lurch. Side by side through turn 2, that's not good. Oh!
That's a big hit.
Wow.
That was a battle for 11th position, and Lurch hard into the wall. Good to see him moving around in the cockpit.
Ooh, that was a tough hit right there for Augie Lurch. I hope he's all right after that.
Let's take a look at this.
So Hanratty overshoots turn 1 a little bit, going down the inside of Augie. And then they're going side by side through turn 2, and it just looks like Hanratty clips the curb and then gets shot into Augie, and then Augie has no chance but to head straight for the wall.
So Augie Lurch, the 18-year-old from Tucson, Arizona, is out. It looks like he's going to be able to climb out. Stay with us from St. Petersburg in the Mazda Road to Indy. This is the first of 4 quarterly highlight shows for the Mazda Road to Indy. With Anders Krohn, I'm Kevin Lee. This is race number 1, kicking off the season for Cooper Tires USF 2000, powered by Mazda. And we are working on a restart now. Lap number 14, the pole sitter is still in front. Jake Edson pulling Aaron Tielitz back to green down the main straightaway. Single file. Will anybody pop out and grab a position on this restart? They're spread out a little bit. Back in the pack a little bit, we see a move.
Victor Franzoni looking around the outside in turn 1. Can he make that stick going into turn 2? Does not look like it. Yufeng Lowe keeping that position, doing a great job as a series rookie.
Very impressed with the 16-year-old. Lowe holding off the Mazda Road to Indy veteran, at least for now, but Franzoni is not done, and he's got Rickards right there in the yellow car lurking behind him, and then Cochran is behind him.
A lot of pressure there, and we see a little bit of separation now from the top 4 to Yufeng Lowe, but he's still doing a great job here, but so much pressure right now for Victor Franzoni. Can he hold that off? We're now going down that long back straightaway going into turn 10. This is where Victor Franzoni passed Isla Ogren earlier. Can he make another move? It does not look like it. He doesn't have the run. But Jordan Lloyd here, who's back in the race, is side by side with Isla Ogren. And oh man, we're going to go into turn 11, 12 now. Jordan Lloyd gets that position. Great move for him there as he's moving through the field. He's been so quick all weekend long. Got taken out on lap 1, but now he's charging through the field again.
He's another teenager, a 19-year-old from Toowoomba, Australia. That sounds familiar. That's the hometown of Verizon IndyCar Series champion Will Power. He's driving with John Comiskey Racing. John's a longtime team manager and mechanic in IndyCar who started a USF 2000 team last season.
And also Anthony Martin is driving for that same team, so clearly a very good operation as he's running in 4th place right now. And they've been quick in all of preseason testing, including the Winterfest and so on forth. So very, very good operation there from John Comiskey.
Good racing throughout the field here in St. Petersburg.
And you know what? USF 2000 never fails to disappoint. This is the first step on the Mazda Road to Indy ladder, and these guys want to make it to the Verizon IndyCar Series one day. They're trying so hard to prove themselves every single race, and that's why we see such good action.
What a great opportunity to race on the same courses, in front of the same fans, in front of the same decision makers and owners as the Verizon IndyCar Series. And one of the great things that Anderson Promotions has done the last few years in team with IndyCars, most of their events are all with the Verizon IndyCar Series, and many weekends all 3 levels of the Mazda Road to Indy ladder are at the same track, including at St. Petersburg.
And this series kicked off in 2010 when Dan Anderson of Anderson Promotions felt like there was a lack in the beginning of the ladder. Put the series in place, and Sage Karam was the very first champ, and he's now with Chip Ganassi Racing. So obviously the ladder has worked beautifully, and we're already seeing drivers moving up from this into the Pro Mazda Series, then into Indy Lights, and then into the Verizon IndyCar Series. So the ladder is working, and the scholarships are helping these young drivers.
Young Brazilian Franzoni in the black number 17 car is still trying to get to 6th position. Working on Yufeng Lowe in the white number 23 car. He's been stalking him for a while, just trying to force the 16-year-old into a mistake.
What a great job, though, from Yufeng. I mean, he is so inexperienced. I don't think he's ever driven at a street circuit, ever. And he's doing such a good job. But now looking up front, Jake Edson. Look at this guy. He moved to Pabst Racing this year from Cape Motorsports, which is the teams that's following him right now. And he's just been on fire all off-season long. He was the quickest driver, arguably, in the Winterfest this year, as we see the white flag come out, and he has just been dominant all weekend long.
Edson is going to see the white flag one more time around. This 1.8-mile course on board with Aaron Telitz. He's trying to make up ground. He's maybe going to have one more opportunity, but he's going to need a mistake. Third place car, we see Nico Jamin, who's having a strong run in the white number 2 car. He lives in Florida now, Coconut Creek. He is from France.
And Jake Edson here just doing a fantastic job. He hasn't put a foot wrong all day, nor have the guys following him either. Aaron Telitz and Nico Jamin, such strong competitors here as returning drivers, and we've really seen a big step here between the returning drivers of Telitz, Edson, and Jamin compared to the rest of the field here, and their experience is clearly showing as they're on the final run here, and no way is Aaron Telitz going to be close enough to make a move here.
Jake Edson is going to turn 20 on May 24th. That happens to be the same day as the Indianapolis 500. So that's going to be the date of the 500. Every once in a while, he desperately hopes to be in that race someday on his birthday. He won multiple times last year, 2 times on the way to 3rd in the championship. And Jake Edson is going to start off 2015 with a win on the streets of St. Petersburg in USF 2000.
What a clean run for Jake Edson. Absolutely impressive performance from him there. Coming back as a series veteran and just demolishing the field.
Aaron Telitz comes home in 2nd. Nico Jamin in 3rd. Anthony Martin with a good run in 4th position. Yufeng Lo finishes in 5th. Victor Franzoni gets the 6th position, followed by Garth Rickards and Jordan Lloyd. The Staubley Award for the race winner goes to Edson, and the PFC Award for the winning car owner goes to Augie Pabst. Victor Franzoni wins the Tilton Hard Charger Award for picking up 11 positions. Let's hear now from the winner, Jake Edson.
We couldn't really ask for much more, so I'm really happy for the team, Pabst Racing, and we all worked really hard to get to this place, and I'm just glad that we were finally able to come out on top. We were kind of setting the pace, I think, in practice and qualifying, and just had to keep keeping that mentality a little bit throughout the race. I saw there's a couple safety cars, which didn't really help the cause too much, but we got some good restarts, and it all ended well.
And we mentioned Victor Franzoni moving up from last to 6th. Here's one of his moves, the Replay XD move of the race on Garth Rickards early on to get to 7th position. He ultimately would finish in 6th. Race number 2 in opening weekend at St. Petersburg, a clean sweep for Jake Edson. He starts off 2015 Anders 2 for 2.
Yeah, great run for Jake Edson as he returns to USF 2000 for a 2nd year there. Aaron Telitz, Nico Jamin also showing very strongly. But look at Anthony Martin, a series rookie in 4th place there for all the way from Australia.
Top 4 the same in both races. Next up, south of New Orleans, NOLA Motorsports Park, and Nico Jamin on the podium now in all 3 races, and he gets a win in race number 1.
And so far, it's the same 3 guys that have been proving themselves to be the top dogs in this series so far.
Telitz and Edson on the podium. Race number 2 for NOLA. We talked a lot about in St. Petersburg, Victor Franzoni's pace. Well, he had the pace and he got the win in race number 2, his first of the season.
Extremely treacherous conditions, full-on wet conditions, and Victor Franzoni showing his experience level as he takes that victory. Very impressive run for him.
Very challenging weekend with the weather at NOLA, but these young drivers were very impressive, staying as clean as you possibly can. To the picturesque Barber Motorsports Park in late April, race number 1, it's Aaron Telitz.
Great job for Aaron Telitz to finally break through and get his first win of the year. He's been waiting a long time for that, and now let's see if the floodgates may open.
And in race number 2, Nico Jamin takes another step up, and he comes up with the win to finish up the weekend.
I just can't believe how tight this championship is at the moment. We're not seeing any consistent winners back-to-back, so this could be one of the tightest championship races in USF 2000 history.
Anthony Martin has had a very impressive start to the season. From John Comiskey Racing from Australia, now living in Indianapolis, just 20 years old, he has been impressive. So we're getting close to the halfway point of this season already, and here's how they stack up with Edson in front.
It couldn't be much tighter between the returning drivers, could it? But look at Anthony Martin here. So close, yet so far.
All right, coming up, we're going to profile Pro Mazda, including lap-by-lap coverage from Barber Motorsports Park. This is the Mazda Road to Indy. It's the first of 4 quarterly highlight shows for the Mazda Road to Indy on NBCSN with Anders Krohn and Kevin Lee. We move now to Pro Mazda, presented by Cooper Tires. Their season also started at St. Petersburg, and Neil Alberico opened up the season with a win. Alberico finished 3rd in the Pro Mazda Championship last year with his best finish of 2nd, so he gets his first win in this category.
And look at this, 2 series rookies in P2 and P3 with Santi Arusha and Florian Latour, the USF 2000 champion.
Race number 2, Alberico goes 2 for 2 to begin 2015. Can't ask for anything more there. The 22-year-old from Los Gatos, California.
Such a strong return for him and Cape Motorsports with Wayne Taylor Racing. But look at this, Jose Gutierrez using his experience to make it up to that podium as well.
Good to see a mix in the podium and a lot of different drivers getting some early success. South of New Orleans, the first race at NOLA, and another one of the newcomers, Santiago Arusha.
And it's also interesting to note that the top 5 in the race were all series rookies. Wei Rontan doing a great job for Andretti Autosport. Timothy Buret for Junko is doing a fantastic job as well.
Rain was a problem all weekend in NOLA, and race number 2 was postponed due to track conditions, so a 3rd Pro Mazda race has been added to the Indianapolis GP schedule in May. On to Barber Motorsports Park in Birmingham, Alabama, and Wei Rontan moves a step up the ladder on the podium.
Wei Rontan was so strong in the Winterfest here earlier this year and shows that by winning that race in a very dominant fashion ahead of Timothy Buret, who's showing very well as a series rookie.
So this has really tightened up the championship, now a quarter of the way through the season. 4 of 16 rounds complete, and it obviously could not be any closer with Arusha within 1 point of Alberico and then others lurking that are ready to pounce.
Alberico and Arusha have been the model of consistency all season long so far, and I can't wait to get this second race here at Barber started. Beautiful, beautiful track, and these drivers are hungrier than ever.
And the winner of race number 1 also starts on the point in race number 2. Wei Rontan, the 20-year-old from Malaysia, now living in Houston for Andretti Autosport. Timothy Buret starts in 2nd. Arusha and Alberico are in row number 2. Pato Award and Jose Gutierrez in row 3. Garrett Grist, Will Owen, Florian Latour, Dalton Kellett, Kyle Connery, Daniel Burkett, Raul Owens, Parker Nicklin, Alessandro Latif, and Bobby Eberle, and another one of the expert class contenders, Jay Horak, rounding out the 17-car field. And the black car on the inside as they come around the final turn, that's the pole sitter, Wei Rontan, Buret, and the green and white car on the outside. Buret is going to find no racing room. He's off in the grass. We are green at Barber, and Wei Rontan has the early jump.
Look at this, but then 3 wide going into turn 1. Neil Alberico with an amazing move around the outside of Santi Arusha as we see 3 of the Juncos Racing teammates with Will Owen all the way to the inside. Garrett Grist going to try that around the outside of turn 2. Wow, a lot of racing here on the opening lap.
Great racing through turns 2 and 3. In race number 1 yesterday, there were 3 aborted starts. They stay green. This time it does not go well, though, for the second place starter, Timothy Buret, who was maybe pushed off a little bit into the grass at the beginning.
Yeah, we didn't get a great view of that, but we're hoping to get a better replay. And as we see a lot of action here coming into turn 8 and turn 9, Pato Award going on the inside of Kyle Connery in the middle of turn 9. You don't typically see a lot of that.
Here's the start again.
Oh, Wei Rontan just squeezed Timothy Buret right out of the track.
He goes all the way out to the white line. As the pole sitter, you've at least got to give him a lane, do you not?
Yeah, you definitely do there. So that was a bit of a dirty move there for wear and tan. He could have easily, oh yeah, he just barges him right off track. And that's a great shame for Timothy Bure. He's been so strong all year long, and clearly, oh yeah, he is upset with this.
This is Alberico's on board, starting fourth, and he's fortunate to be able to squirt through there.
Yeah, you definitely have to give more room than what Wear and Tan did there. Just squeezed him right off track, and that is definitely not clean racing.
So we'll wait and see what we hear from race control.
That was Dalton Kellett getting sideways in the final corner. Will Owen battling side by side with him as we have some cones and a spinner in the back of the field. That's Daniel Burkett going around with cones all over the track. Man, this is mayhem.
And that's a real obstacle with cones there on the main straightaway. You wonder if that impacted anything that happened in that spin. So we are going to go full course caution. Let's take a look of our second incident here. Now that was before the cone. I can't say.
A lot of drivers there. Timothy Bure doing a great job to avoid a spinning Daniel Burkett there. Wow, look at that. That was close.
So Burkett does get it pointed back around in the right direction. And this is from behind Burkett, his on board.
He was so lucky not to get hit by anyone there. Just dropped two wheels at the exit of that corner, and because the grass is a little bit wet, he spun right around them. Bure doing a great job getting around Burkett there.
And because of that contact with Bure, we are now told that Wear on Tan has been penalized, sent to the rear of the field. So Neil Alberico is the leader. Arusha, Grist, and Owen in the top four in Pro Mazda at Barber Motorsports Park. This is the Mazda Grand Prix of Alabama, part of our quarterly highlight show for the Mazda Road to Indy on NBCSN with Anders Krona and Kevin Lee. Getting set to go back to green, working on lap number 4 of race number 2 of the weekend at Barber Motorsports Park. And we head to green with Neil Alberico pulling Arusha, Grist, Owen, and Kellett. And Alberico gets a nice jump into turn number 1.
Look at that great restart for Neil Alberico there, just jumping out of turn 17 and onto a great lead. And now he needs to maintain that coming out of turn 3 here in order to not have a chance for Santi Arusha to get by him into turn 5. Garrett Grist doing a great job here as well. He struggled a little bit in the first parts of the season, but now he's coming on really quite strong.
Alberico finished 3rd in the Pro Mazda Championship last season without a win, but he's already swept the St. Petersburg weekend this year. He's off to a strong start, but his lead has been shrunk the last couple of races. It's down to 1 point on Arusha coming into this race.
Yeah, so we have the two top championship contenders now running right with each other, but it definitely looks like on this opening lap, like Neil Alberico has the pace at the moment. He is pulling away a little bit by little bit from Santi Arusha.
6th place at NOLA, 4th place yesterday in Barber race number 1.
Daniel Burkett going around the inside of Latif there, going into turn 12. That's a great move there. That's not a typical passing spot.
Daniel Burkett getting it done. He had a podium at St. Petersburg in race number 2.
And he obviously moved up from USF 2000. He did that last year with Bilardi Auto Racing, moved up to Cape Motorsports this year in Pro Mazda. Obviously, they had a lot of success last year with Scott Hargrove and Neil Alberico, and he stepped into a really good organization as we see Garrett Grist there go off track. He had a ton of understeer going through turn 2 and turn 3, getting that dirty air from Santi Arusha, and it's so hard through that corner to keep the tires underneath you.
Up front, it's Alberico still in charge, and now Jay Horak is off into the gravel, one of the drivers in the expert class, and that's going to be very difficult to extract that car from there. Let's see if we can find out what happened.
Oh yeah, he's going through turn 1, just drops a couple of wheels there, gets onto the wet stuff, and then into the gravel trap.
So we are under caution with Neil Alberico in front at Barber. About to restart lap number 8 of race number 2 of the Pro Mazda weekend, round number 5 of the 2015 season, part of our quarterly highlight show of the Mazda Road to Indy on NBCSN. Neil Alberico, Santiago Arusha, Garrett Grist, Will Owen, and Dalton Kellett as we go back to green.
And yet another good restart here for Neil Alberico. He got the run out of the final corner and is able to pull away a little bit as Pato O'Ward goes for a move past Kyle Connery right there. A lot of action in the back of the field here right now.
Restarts are so critical on road courses to be able to make up that position. After that, it's about your racecraft and trying to set up the opportunity and hoping to force someone into a mistake.
Pato O'Ward again looking to the inside of Jose Gutierrez this time. He's the guy on the move right now. Oh, Weir and Tan shoves Raul Owens off the track. That looked exactly the same like he did to Bure earlier in the race.
Wow, Tan has already been penalized once. He started on the pole and was sent to the back of the field. Let's look at this through the hairpin. Not sure if they touched, but he went all the way out.
He certainly didn't leave a single inch for Raul Owens there. And yeah, it definitely wasn't as bad as that in the final corner on the initial race start, but that was still given a good squeeze there, and Raul Owens had no chance once he was out on the grass.
And here's Tan coming back to the inside here. That's Kyle Connery in the 91 car.
Oh, and that's Daniel Burkett in the inside of, but now he's going to be on the outside in the final corner, not going to be able to make that move stick. But Weir and Tan, man, he's got so much speed. He's just got to put it all together here without any drama, and he will be flying.
He won yesterday, started on the point, was looking for a perfect weekend, so you know there's frustration in the cockpit after the penalty, thinking I had an opportunity to, if not win, at least get on the podium, barring any big problems.
He's certainly shown that he is one of the quickest, if not the quickest driver in the series at the moment. And he's just got to put it all together. Look down the inside of Kyle Connery into turn 5, and he gets that spot without any issues. And let's see now if he can catch Jose Gutierrez. But Kyle Connery does not want to give up that spot. Now heading into turn 8. This is going to give Weir and Tan the inside line, which should give him that position. And indeed, there it is. He takes that position.
Great racing for 10th on the track as Weir and Tan from the back getting closer to the middle to see if he can score some valuable points. But he is definitely a championship contender coming into this weekend. Tan came in 3rd in the championship into this race.
And he needs to make up some moves here to not lose complete sight of Neil Alberico and Santi Arusha in the championship, as we see Pato O'Ward and Bure running closely. Bure was the driver that was pushed off track earlier here, but he's trying to make his way up towards the front of the field.
While we have a moment, I want to say hello and best wishes to Michael Johnson, the 22-year-old driver who's been in the Mazda Road to Indy for a few years from Flint, Michigan. He was paralyzed in a dirt track motorcycle accident at 12. Has come back to race successfully in Formula cars, involved in a nasty crash and injured in the opening weekend at St. Pete's.
Yeah, Michael Johnson truly embodies the spirit of the Mazda Road to Indy, and that is to never give up. And he had a horrible injury in St. Petersburg, and we wish him all the best in his recoveries, and we can't wait to have you back on track, Michael.
I hear good things about his recovery at this point. He's already said, I want to get back into a race car as soon as possible. Good luck, Michael. We'll see you back at the racetrack very soon.
But look at this now. Garrett Grist, the returning driver in Pro Mazda, applying pressure here to Santi Arusha. Garrett Grist was with Andretti Autosport last year, won 2 races and was always a challenger for victories. Has struggled a little bit so far this year, but now is coming on strong here in the second race at Barber Motorsports Park, putting a lot of pressure on Santi Arusha, a newcomer to the series.
Alberico is still in front. Arusha chasing him. Grist, Owen. That's Arusha there in the yellow 81 car, running in second position with Grist within striking distance of him to move up a spot in the podium. Owen is in the second green and white car we see there with Juncos Racing running in 4th position. Headed to the later stages of this Pro Mazda event, Alberico is in front and Latour has moved up to 5th position. Working lap 12 of 17 in Pro Mazda at Barber Motorsports Park. Neil Alberico is the leader, but action back in the field. A battle for 7th, Anders.
Look at this Pato Award around the outside of Jose Gutierrez, but look at this a little further back. Weir and Tan and Timothy Bure almost touching wheels there. These are the two guys that had contact on the opening lap before the green flag, and they are not enjoying each other's company very much at the moment.
On board with Tan. Remember, he was the pole sitter, penalized for pushing Bure wide at the start. Bure started second. Both of them have gone back to the back of the pack, worked their way up past the middle, and trying to challenge for even more. Tan in the black car, Bure in the green and white 6 car right in front of Tan on board.
We are witnessing an amazing race, and there's certainly no love lost between Timothy Bure and Weir and Tan as they both want to make their way back to the front. They have been the quickest 2 drivers this weekend so far, but this race has not unfolded the way either of them had wanted to.
The 7 car right in front of them is Jose Gutierrez, another one of the green and white Yuko's cars.
And look at Weir and Tan there, squeezing his car through turn 1, pushing so hard. Kyle Connery and Daniel Burkett pushing hard there in the background as well as they make their way through turn 3, 4 right there. Kyle Connery is not going to have enough pressure there from Daniel Burkett to make him move.
We're keeping an eye on the green and white 6 car of Timothy Bure, and he's going to get his teammate there on the inside around Gutierrez in the hairpin.
And meanwhile, Burkett does make the move here on Kyle Connery, laid on the brakes into turn 5. Wow, oh, and it's close quarters now, going down towards turn 8. Is Connery going to come right back down the inside? Oh, Burkett through the grass. Man, I've never seen such an amazing race from Barber Motorsports Park before. This is insanity.
Connery, a 24-year-old who's living in Vero Beach, Florida, from Stuart, Florida, with JDC Motorsports. Burkett, one of the many young Canadians in the Mazda Road to Indy. He's still just 20 years old, we mentioned, jumping up this year from a couple of years in USF 2000.
And look at this now. We have Jose Gutierrez with so much pressure from Weir and Tan. Bure has now gone through, but Tan has not. Tan needs to get past Gutierrez here to start chasing down Bure. He needs to make something happen in this lap.
Tan won race 1. Pole sitter race 2 before he was penalized for pushing Bure off at the start of the race, trying to charge back through the field, so we know he's fast in that Andretti Autosport car.
But this is such a tough track to pass at right now. You need to be a lot faster in order to set up a pass. But he's certainly got all the motivation in the world. He's proven that he is the quickest driver. And oh, he's going to try it on the inside of turn 5. That was so late on the brakes there for Weir and Tan. He is now going to be on the outside, though, for turn 8. I don't think he will be able to make that happen, but he is one angry man right now.
Somebody's got to give. Somebody's got to give, and Tan will as they go through this section. What's his mindset? He knows he's fast. He's already suffered a penalty and had a little more contact through this race.
His mindset right now should be to just gather points. Be smart about where you're making your moves. But right now he is just full-on aggression as we go into turn 12. Around the outside into turn 12. Whoa!
And Tan goes around. That's not a place where you can pass.
I've never seen a pass be made there, and certainly that was a crazy attempt. And oh, Gutierrez is in the wall.
So he suffers for this too. So 2 contenders knocked off. Gutierrez suffers more. That's Tan coming through there, back on course.
And we were not able to see if there was contact or not there, but it was certainly very close quarters as we get a replay here. And they're so close going into that turn 13. And is there yeah, there is contact. That's going to be a toe link for Jose Gutierrez brake, whereas Weir and Tan spins off the track, and Gutierrez,
just trying to hang on. But once you get into that grass that is wet, it hasn't rained today, but it's rained a lot this weekend.
Look at this. This is just too aggressive here for Weir and Tan, not picking his right spot to make a move. That was never going to work out, unfortunately.
And he's faster, too.
He's way faster, and he has been the fastest all weekend long. And
he would have eventually, we think, gotten him. Easy for us to say, sitting here, but patience would have been the better option there.
It's so easy to say when you know that you're the fastest car on track. It's so tough to harness yourself and make sure that you don't make any mistakes like that. But that was not what Weir and Tan nor Jose Gutierrez needed for their championship.
Now, in a driver's defense, we say, yes, he would have gotten him eventually, but he's thinking, I need to get him now because I think I can eventually catch up to the next guy the longer I wait. the less chance I have to get anybody else.
And this is just showing what a mental mind game racing can be. It's not just about the outright speed. It's about when you have adversary, how you adapt to that and how you choose to make your moves.
So unfortunate for Jose Gutierrez, who finished second in the second race at St. Pete, and he won at Sonoma, the season finale last year, second year in Pro Mazda, finished 7th last year in the championship for Juncos. So they've got some work to do here, but Juncos, as we take one more look at what happened with the Juncos driver in the green and white car, Gutierrez, and then tan for Andretti Autosport, two of the powerhouses here in the Mazda Road to Indy.
Unbelievable. I mean, this is great for the spectators, but not what Weir and Tan or Jose Gutierrez needed. And speaking of Juncos Racing, they won the championship last year with Spencer Pigot. And guess who's dominated the Indy Lights weekend this weekend at Barber? Spencer Pigot with Juncos Racing in Indy Lights. Amazing weekend for that team and driver.
Yeah, Juncos in their first season in Indy Lights, and Pigot with the championship lead as they go to Indianapolis for the Grand Prix weekend. So they have been very impressive, as has Carlin Racing in their first season in Indy Lights. Ed Jones won the first three before Pigot took over here at Barber Motorsports Park. What a day for Neil Albarico. Started fourth, and you have to be ready to pounce when someone else makes a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to give him credit. He got stronger and stronger all year last year with his team, Kate Motorsports. And this year, he's already won 2 races, and he's now on track to win his 3rd early in the season. And he's got the championship lead. And you got to wonder, can anyone catch him? Santi Arusha, right behind him, is the closest contender in the championship. He's certainly been very, very consistent. And then you have Garrett Grist, the guy that was inconsistent but very quick last year, and now is his chance to make up for that and be consistent and start scoring the good results.
Race officials are hoping to get the track clean so we can get another lap or two of green flag racing in. They are working against the clock here in the later stages of this race. Neil Albarico is one of the drivers with Rising Star Racing, and they've had a great weekend. You mentioned Spencer Pigot, Joseph Newgarden as well. Rising Star Racing, I love what they're doing to help young Americans in motorsport. We will not be able to get back to green flag racing, and the checkered flag will fly for Neil Albarico, winning at Barber Motorsports Park.
What a win for him. He dominated the race. He made some amazing moves in the early parts of the race. Very well deserved for him and his team, Kate Motorsports. Santi Arusha, look at the rookie there from Uruguay.
Garrett Grist wins the Quartermaster Hard Charger Award, going from 7th to 3rd. The Staubley Award goes to our race winner, and Kate Motorsports, as the winning owner with Wayne Taylor Racing, gets the PFC Award. Let's hear from Albarico in Victory Lane.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, we won, so it doesn't get much better than that. But big thanks to Rising Star Racing, all the guys at Moby, Day Lubricant Company, and Kate Motorsports, the Wayne Taylor Racing crew. They worked really hard to make this one happen, and to go into Indy the month of May after a win is going to be good momentum for us.
Time for the replay XD move of the race. It is Garrett Grist on his way to the podium. He went from 7th to 4th on the first lap of the race and ultimately finished in 3rd. So a good day for him. There are the Juncos guys repairing the car of Jose Gutierrez. Let's hear from him and Weir and Tan about their mix-up.
That corner in turn 12 is almost flat, and then you need to take off the power, so it's a very sketchy corner even alone. I leave him some room, but he lost the car and hit me, so I think it was unfair because I was protecting my line, but I think Weir and Tan is a very aggressive driver, and we were waiting for the race director to do something.
He was defending really strongly. I decided to pull on a move that I know might have a 50% chance of sticking, and obviously he closed in on me going into 13, so I backed off, and as soon as I did, I lost the rear. Did not make contact with him, and then as soon as I got the car turned around again, I saw him in the wall, and I think he thought that I did it.
Always differing viewpoints when there's a racing incident. 5 of 16 complete, Anders. Here's the championship.
Look at this. 2 drivers pulling away in the championship. Neil Albarico, Santi Arusha, the only 2 drivers to have true consistency so far this year. But great first few races.
And great events still to come on the Mazda Road to Indy. Don't forget to look at roadtoindy.tv for more, and their app. Indianapolis is next. And don't forget the day before the 500, racing in the afternoon at Lucas Oil Raceway, the day before the Indianapolis 500. For Anders Krohn, I'm Kevin Lee. Thank you for joining us for the Mazda Road to Indy on NBCSN, your home for motorsports.